How's it going, everyone? NeedleMouse here. Sonic Adventure 2 is known as one of the greatest Sonic games of all time. But in recent years, the game seems to have fallen out of grace, with people saying that games like Sonic Forces are better. Sonic Forces? What? Is SA2 really that bad? Has time finally caught up with this once treasured Sonic game? Is it now just a mediocre game? No, absolutely not. Sonic Adventure 2 to many remains as one of the greatest Sonic games ever, myself included. I love this game, and while yes, it does have its issues, it doesn't deter Sonic Adventure 2 to be one of the greatest Sonic games in my eyes. But not just in my eyes, but also in the eyes of many, which includes the very special guest I've been building up for 2 episodes straight. Introducing perhaps the greatest creator on the platform, Scott the Woz.
Hey y'all, Scott here, and damn it, I own Sonic Jam!
What? The budget doesn't allow us to get Scott on this video? Introducing perhaps the greatest Sonic creator of all time, and also this is all the budget can manage, Mr. Lag.
Hey y'all, Lag here. Sonic Adventure 2, my favorite excuse to deal property damage without being convicted. I spend so much time in this game, enough to question my own sanity, and I've never gotten tired of it. Whether you're causing property damage, stalking the president, or witnessing murder, this game is always a blast. And it really sucks to see that so many people don't see it in the same light. But hopefully we can change that with this video. So, without further ado, let's talk about why Sonic Adventure 2 is amazing.
Alright, let's begin with the most universally loved part of Sonic Adventure 2. The speed stages, of course. Apart from Crazy Cadger, which makes you feel hot, these stages are absolutely amazing. Many people dislike the fact that the speed stages introduced the corridor-like level design into Sonic, but still, they have the multiple paths and faster routes that Sonic is known for. Let's start at the top with City Escape.
Property damage, my favorite. This stage is one of the most iconic levels in gaming history, and for good reason. The fact that you start the stage by boarding down the streets of San Fran is enough to make my dopamine rise to nuclear levels. Oh, and you aren't the only one committing property damage, as the freaking military sends a killer truck after you. Yeah, this stage is peak. Metal Harbor is next, and once again you're running from the feds. I'm sensing a trend here. A lot of fast-paced platforming can be found here, and it's also where you obtain the returning Lightspeed Dash, which feels a lot better to use than its SA1 counterpart. The level design is great, and going for the A rank is oh so satisfying.
Green Forest is a blast to play through every time. Not only is the stage itself so fun, with numerous really cool gimmicks, the situation Sonic and Co. are in is at an all-time high. A huge timer at the top of your screen, the amazing rock music blasting only adds to this already amazing stage. The only thing I can really critique this stage on is that the A rank is really easy to get. Otherwise, peak stage. Pyramid Cave is next, and this level is just okay in my eyes. It has some really cool ideas, but picking up the keys and avoiding the ghosts can be a hassle. Although the music and the gimmick of going fast enough to avoid closing doors is really fun. Overall, Pyramid Cave is actually a pretty fun stage.
Crazy Gadget. Yeah, it exists. The gravity gimmicks are unique, but really janky at times. And although the story stakes for this stage are really high, with Sonic having to reach Eggman before he freaking kills Amy, it doesn't save the wonky gravity shenanigans and the just okay level design from being there. Now, Final Rush, on the other hand, this might be the greatest level in Sonic Adventure 2, period. The use of rails and alternate paths in this stage is unmatched. The stakes are incredibly high, and the flow state you can achieve is incredible. And having it all take place hovering over the earth is so freaking cool. It's almost everything I want in a Sonic level.
But Sonic isn't the only super speed hedgehog in this game, as Sonic Adventure 2 introduced the greatest Sonic character of all time, Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow stages are very similar to that of Sonic, the major difference being the environments, gimmicks, level design, and the music. Starting off with the Radical Highway, I love this stage. Taking place on the in-world equivalent of the Golden Gate Bridge, this stage is absolutely amazing, and is honestly better than the real-life equivalent. The level has you running from the military, but unlike City Escape, Gun has taken to the skies, with fighter jets shooting you down constantly. And the A rank in this stage isn't easy at all to get. With all this in mind, Radical Highway solidifies itself as one of the best Shadow stages of all time. Next comes White Jungle, and this is Shadow's version of Sonic's Green Forest, except it personally feels a lot more high octane and desperate. While Sonic is running to save his friends, who he knows are alive and well, Shadow is pushing himself, going as fast as he possibly can to save a trapped Rouge, who will die if he doesn't get there on time. But apart from that, my opinions on the stage are pretty much the same as Green Forest. A great stage overall.
Next up is Skyrail. and it's pretty fun. Since it takes place in the same region as Pumpkin Hill, the aesthetic is really fresh and it just looks great. While the level design isn't anything special, I do like the amount of branching pathways shown here. It gives you a lot of options on how you want to progress the level. And lastly, we have Final Chase. It's mid. Like Final Rush, Final Chase tries to establish a gimmick and then continues to use it for the rest of the stage. But unlike Final Rush, the gimmick isn't fun. These gravity tubes are so annoying to navigate, and they're plastered everywhere in this level. Not to mention these meteors are a freaking pain to avoid. Sadly, it's just a pretty mid stage to end the dark story off on. And that's it for the speed stages. While there are a couple rough edges here and there, overall they nail the adventure gameplay to a T, and the set pieces and level designs are mostly fantastic. However, it's time to move on to a slightly more controversial topic: the hunting stages.
Now, I made a full separate video on the treasure hunting stages, but to recap, I think these stages are awesome and improve quite well on the SA1s. While I do think some levels aren't fun, like Egg Quarters or Death Chamber, there is quite a lot of enjoyment to be had. Levels like Pumpkin Hill and Dry Lagoon are quite fun, but I'll let Lag talk about these since I have my own video on this, which go ahead and check it out if you want to.
Adventure 1's treasure hunting stages were admittedly really shallow, with the areas being pretty small and confined, and Tikal being able to literally show you where the pieces are. SA2 drastically improves on these, but also downgrades a bit as well. First off, instead of the levels being really small, just sections of full stages in SA1, they're all original in Adventure 2, and take full advantage of Knuckles and Rouge's movesets, most of the time. That's a big problem with some of these stages. They can be pretty inconsistent quality-wise, with levels like Pumpkin Hill being amazing, while others like Death Chamber are very closed in and annoying to navigate. Not to mention, the radar is also extremely nerfed from SA1. In that game, it would show you all the emerald locations at once, but in SA2, they ditched that mechanic in favor of only showing one shard at a time. I assume this was implemented to work with the new hint system, but it really just makes the levels take longer than they should. Conclusion, I'd say that SA2's treasure hunting has higher highs than Adventure 1's, much lower lows as well.
I can say the same for the Mech stages in Sonic Adventure 2. I made a full separate video on these as well, and all I can say is I love the Mech stages. What can I say? They're really fun. Eternal Engine and Cosmic Wall are my personal favorites. But again, I'm giving the mic off to Lag to get his opinions on these stages. Take it away, Scott.
I'd have to agree with NeedleMouse here. These stages are incredibly underrated. And while I've heard a lot of people complain about this gameplay style, I've found it really enjoyable. Similar to how the hunting stages expanded upon Knuckles' gameplay in SA1, the Mech stages do the same, but this time with Gamma's gameplay. Although Tails and Eggman control a bit worse than Gamma, the levels are well designed enough that I don't really care, especially when going for the A ranks. Not to mention they are completely original this time, compared to Gamma, where almost all his stages were small sections of Sonic stages. My favorite part about the Mech levels though is just logging onto a ton of enemies and getting massive point bonuses for it. It's just really satisfying. Overall, these are some of my favorite sections of the game, and I hope that maybe someday they can return in a future Sonic title.
The story in SA2, I can praise it for ages. I mean, we get to see a child shot. This game is peak. But with all seriousness, I really do love the story. It revolves more on Shadow than it does on Sonic. While he and his friends are simply out to stop Eggman as usual, Shadow is a lot more complicated. The guy seeks vengeance on humanity for killing his best friend, Maria, wanting to crash the space colony arc into the planet, wiping out civilization once and for all. Sounds evil, right? Shadow sounds like a class 1 jerk from what I just told you, but throughout the story, we see the true side of the black and red hedgehog.
Sonic Adventure 2 has one of the greatest stories in the entire Sonic series, and it's not even close. The stakes are always high, and it's always motivating the player to keep playing, but it can also be emotional at times. Like when Shadow dies and everyone pays their respects while looking down at the earth. It's just some really sweet stuff. It's also full of iconic moments too, like Sonic jumping off a military helicopter, Tails chasing the President of the United States, and Eggman.
I'm gonna go higher. I'm pissing on the moon.
It's wild, wacky, and extremely memorable.
Oh, and the music. My lord. When people say the music is overrated, I do not see this whatsoever. From the moment you boot up the game, you are greeted with an amazing riff of Live and Learn, to the last credits being such a sad and emotional scene, as all the characters reflect on everything they just went through. Apart from Tails, he continues his trend of saying stupid stuff at the end of the game from SA1.
Yeah, the music in this game is absolutely fire. And I've never understood why some people think it's overrated. In SA1, each character has their own separate theme, with each music style reflecting each character's personality, such as Sonic's theme being focused on rock, while Knuckles is just straight up rap. In SA2 though, their stages use the same style as their themes, and I think that's really cool. Sonic's stages are always fast-paced rock, Rouge's stages are accompanied by jazz, and Knuckles' are always his iconic rap, and so on. You can immediately tell which type of stage it is based on the musical style, and I really like that. Not to mention the vocal themes like Live and Learn and Supporting Me are still so amazing. The soundtrack is just peak overall. And I think that's it for the video, NeedleMouse. Do you have anything left to talk about?
Let's see. What else is on the script? Oh, Oh no!
Chao Garden! I've always wanted to raise a dumpling. Chao Garden is pretty much just a mini pet simulator. You can feed your chow, pick them up, pet them, drug them, throw them, kick them, breed them? So every chow has stats, and you can increase them by feeding them fruit, giving them chaos tribes, or giving them animals. There's also a whole system with character alignment and stuff, but that's way too complicated for my 5 brain cells. Now this seems awesome, right? What's the catch? This is your life now! There are 2 types of chow competitions, racing and karate. You can enter your little dumpling into them to win items for them to play with. Most importantly, emblems. If you want to 100% SA2, you need to complete every chow race and karate challenge. This can take forever since you need incredibly high stats to beat the later races. Despite all that, it's still a fun feature to mess around with, and I really hope it can return in a future Sonic game.
But how does SA2 hold up today? And how does it compare to its predecessor? Now, I personally have made it abundantly clear that I have always thought that Adventure 2 is better than Adventure 1. But why is that? Well, for one, I think the story and the music clear SA1. Now, again, don't get me wrong, I love the story and music in SA1 too, but Adventure 2 just does it better. But when it comes to gameplay, it's a lot more difficult to decide. Now, I have said in my previous 2 videos that both treasure hunting and the mech stages are better in SA2, but SA1 gives you the option to choose between characters. Now, personally, I would see this as a valid argument, but you're gonna tell me that someone's gonna buy Sonic Adventure and not play Biggs or Amy's stories to get to last story? Because then you'd be lying to me. Not only would you not be getting your money's worth, you would also miss out on Super Sonic. Who wants to miss out on Super Sonic?
Once again, I agree with you, NeedleMouse. Sonic Adventure 2 streamlines and improves upon almost everything SA1 did. And while it's missing some features like the adventure fields, I think it stands above its predecessor as the best adventure game.
In the end, I really do believe SA2 is one of the best Sonic games of all time. The game does have its issues, yes, but what Sonic game doesn't? I think this game, even in 2024, holds up really well, and I 100% recommend to each and every one of you to, if you haven't played, play this game. And if you have played it and thought it was bad, to give it a second shot, because it really is amazing. Almost 25 years, Sonic Adventure 2 still has some of the most fun and engaging gameplay in the franchise. But that's everything for today. I really hope you all enjoyed this 3-part series. And who knows, maybe we'll do another 3-parter, potentially a sequel to my writers collab. But thank you for joining me, Lag. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao!